Hello, Happy on Purpose. Today, we're joined by someone who invites a whole body kind of healing, Isabel Prystawik. Am I pronouncing your name right?
You sure did,
Yay!
yes.
Isabel is a registered therapeutic counselor, somatic practitioner, and facilitator at her practice Motionally Counselling and Facilitation in the North Okanagan. On her website, she offers a space for people who've walked the personal growth path and still feel like something's not quite clicking. She works trauma-informed and somatic-based, meaning she pays attention not only to thoughts and emotion, but to what your body's been holding, what your nervous system's been saying, and what your soul's quietly asking. Today, we'll dig into what it means to come back to yourself, how embodiment and presence can change the way we live, and how you might start hearing your own quiet signals. Welcome, Isabel.
Thank you, Janice.
I'm so excited because we do know each other, full disclosure, but not really well, more in sort of a professional capacity. So I'm super excited to let the listeners get to know who you are. And through that, I think they'll understand your work and how that can help them and impact their lives in a positive way.
I'm really excited.
Ah, good. So let's start with you. So what led you to this work of somatic counseling and facilitation?
I'll tell you the medium story.
Yes. Okay.
So I've been supporting people in their reconnection and growth for almost 30 years in different capacities. Mm-hmm. And what really a big event for me was my somatic movement training that I finished in 2009. And I was practicing a little bit and I kept it in my back pocket. And those were the days when people didn't really know what somatics were. It was something mysterious. We didn't really talk about it. And then fast forward, I went to counseling school. Yeah. I wanted to offer my students a more, let's just say, more rounded set of tools. And so I went to counseling school, and here I am in this version of Motionally Counselling and Facilitation.
That's awesome. I do want to take just a minute because I think there still is, I mean, in our world, somatic, we get it. But can you just sort of, for the listeners, sort of review what that might mean so that we have a base moving forward?
Sure. So somatic comes from soma, which means or includes the body and the mind and the spirit. Most basically. Yeah. Okay. In the meantime, there are lots of different avenues and ideas about what somatics are, and lots of different modalities that are included in that. So if you ask me or another practitioner and another practitioner, we're all going to have a different specific answer.
That's interesting.
But the general answer is that somatics is the idea that the body is a resource in healing, in reconnection, in growth.
Yeah. And I think in sort of the counseling world, that would be the biopsychosocial side of things, with maybe a more focus on the physicality. Am I getting that right?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on who you talk to, right? Okay. I mean, some people can look at the body and say, oh, look, here's a list of problems and we're going to use the hacks and we're going to work on them and fix. And then there's somebody like me on my area of the pond where I have this idea that the body is a resource, that yes, we experience pain or chronic illness, and those can be painful and debilitating. Definitely. There's no way to downplay that. And what I see is that the body, and that I experience, is the body as a resource, that pain, that the illness, the suffering that we experience through our body is also a source of information.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yeah. Right. That there is wisdom in the body. I think we, as a society have gotten so far away from listening. And I like what you said too, is that, you know, as therapists, people come to us, they're like, fix this thing, and you want 7 hacks to happiness or 6 steps to repair your relationship. And we know that that does not work. Those are really lovely little boxes to check, but the deeper, sustainable work is always more intuitive.
Yes.
And I hear that you're saying that it's individual, not only for the practitioner, but also for the student, as you refer to them, student or client. So that's super exciting. And on your site, you invite people who have outgrown the scripts, but still feel disconnected. What does that feeling look like in your view, or how could you sort of sum that up for the listeners?
Well, when we get started in making a change and getting, humping up our courage to put ourselves out there in a different way in our life and our relationship with ourselves and others, I'm reminded of a quote by Moshe Feldenkrais, and he talked about making the impossible possible, the possible easy, and the easy elegant. And so when we're doing those first, trembling steps at the edges of our possibilities, that's where we rely on our scripts, and that's why we rely on our courage and the courage of our counselor, right? And as we get more comfortable with taking risks and trying new things, then the scripts kind of fall away a bit. And then we're in that messy middle between, okay, I had the scripts and the worksheet and the homework, and I have this idea of where I'd like to be in my relationships, but I'm still kind of in that messy middle.
Yes.
And to me, the answer, or the answer to the messy middle, I think it's really important, is the slowing down and is the coming back and finding the wisdom that is in ourselves.
Absolutely. So do you see yourself more as just a witness to somebody's evolution? You're there sort of as the leader, the facilitator, but it's up to them to get to their course, to get to their work, to their understanding.
Yes. In short answer is yes. I mean, I have, the fancy paperwork on the wall, but in the end, I feel that I'm a skilled ally in a client's, in a student's own unfolding, and that I neither, from my ethical perspective, neither want to push people, nor do I have the answers for people, right? I've got some studying, I've got some life experience, but how could I possibly tell you what to do and how to think and how to be in your life, right? And so in respecting your sovereignty and your humanity, I want to be your ally rather than fixing you. And I don't actually believe that you're broken either. So that's a whole nother conversation.
The fixing word, right? That actually, just listening to you and looking at you while you speak about that, it actually makes me feel a little emotional. And I think that's so powerful, because when you've been fully seen, and when you're going in to speak with somebody, like you said, that those first moments of picking up the phone to say, I need some support, something's off over here, I've been doing everything I know how to do, and it's still not working. It's such a vulnerable and scary place to be. So to know that when you're going to show up, that all of the emotions are okay, that there is no judgment on what's going to unfold, that you're just the keeper, is sort of how I feel. Like you're the keeper of what is going to be. And there's magic in that.
There is.
Right? Then the people that go to work, go to the schools, the therapeutic schools or the whatever, not to throw shade, but they know the textbook. I get a sense from you, you've done the work, you've lived the work, you are the work. And so there's something really beautiful about sharing that. That makes me really feel kind of emotional.
I love that. I
do too. This is sort of my jam. I love this, right? I love the vulnerability of this work, because that's where it really happens. That's where the change comes about, or the healing, if we want to use those words. So you speak of being ready for something real, rooted, and transformative. How did you begin to land in that language? I think we were just sort of going there. Like, I think that's sort of where we kind of addressed, but even just deeper than that, like that's languaging right from your website. So how did you kind of come up with that? The rooted, real, rooted, and transformative.
I have to take a moment and breathe that in, right?
Yeah.
So there's so many ways that and forms that we are led to believe that in the ways that we should be, right? To be a good student, a good child, a good, fill
Mother,
in the
a good wife, a good partner,
right?
a good, yes.
Fill in the
Label.
list, right? And so there's a certain step from learning how to jam ourselves into the labels and taking the steps to figure out who we actually are and how we choose to be in the world.
Yes, how we show up.
Right? How we show up. And how I show up in this situation or in the counseling room or with my family, it's true that we don't always show up exactly the same way because, I'll tell you, my
Unwritten
teenager,
rules.
You're not going to give me that live, love, life crap, are you, Mom? Exactly. And I'm like, well, actually,
Yeah.
Put your seatbelt on. We're going to go there.
So true. So true. I'm all love and light until
right?
Yeah, until.
And so there's that threshold that we cross from jamming ourselves into expectations, figuring out who we are and what parts of ourselves do we want to attend to so that we can grow into being who we want to be.
Yeah.
Right? And so that comes for real, rooted, and transformation.
Oh, I love it. I love everything about that. So another phrase that you use, because you use so many, I feel like that it's funny, but you use so many good little clarifying things in your online presence.
Yeah.
And so they made me just really curious for more. And I think that's the whole point of a really good website or a really good social presence is I want to know what that means and how does that apply to me and how can that help me, right?
Yeah. And I love words, so that I love that it came through on.
Yeah. Oh, for sure it did. Your website is gorgeous. A phrase that you use is counseling that honors the whole self. What do you mean by whole self? We touched on that in the somatic, but I think we're getting a little deeper than that. What is the whole self? When, again, it's languaging that can sometimes feel ubiquitous, like we're hearing, because there's such a movement towards growth and spirituality and healing thyself. But what is the whole self? What is the whole self?
So to me, the surface answer is intellect, emotion, body, spirit.
Yeah.
Right? If we go a layer deeper, then it's our whole self. What parts of you, what parts of me is the scariest to bring into this room?
Yeah.
Right? What parts of me is sitting in the corner with her arms crossed saying, this is dumb, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
How do we attend to all of ourselves and how do we bring all of those parts of ourselves into the therapeutic counseling conversation?
Totally.
Because those mad parts, those angry parts, now I'm repeating myself, all of those parts have wisdom and gold for us in the present moment.
Totally.
And the parts that are stuck or in shame or, add the labels, they are so wise and so powerful. And they helped us get here. So to pretend that they don't matter or weren't helpful or don't belong into our present lives is really doing a disservice to everything that we've been through and everything that we're bringing here.
Yeah. The word that comes up is that honoring, right?
Yeah.
I think the fear sometimes to seeking out help or counseling or whatever that looks like is that there's so much shame and so much guilt in the stories we've told ourselves about what is appropriate behavior and what is not appropriate. And you sort of touched on it that, yeah, in each relationship, we may show up a little different, right? We show up as the professional, we show up as the mother, we show up as the wife, husband. I'm using females here, but substitute the pronoun. And there are those unwritten contracts that we have with those important people in our families. The whole self for me says, you're all good here. That gave me goosebumps.
Me too.
You're all good here. Bring the mess. Like you said,
Yeah.
the messy middle is like when I was still practicing, that was where I loved to be. You knew you were getting somewhere. Like the beginning session can be the story. It's well, if they would just do this thing, I would be so much happier. And when we go underneath it, it's like, okay, well, there's probably truth in that, but you're in that relationship. So how do we figure out what's going really on for you and how you can show up differently in a more healthy way?
Right.
Would that be fair?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense to me, the whole self. Many people think counseling means fixing what's broken. And you kind of touched on that, not liking the fixing and broken languaging, but you use counseling rather than therapy for a reason. Could you talk about that distinction?
Okay, nerd alert.
Okay, because you love words probably, or yeah.
So psychotherapy came from the idea that the mind is sick.
Yeah.
And so we are fixing the broken mind. I don't think, yes, we have pain. Yes, we have patterns and behaviors that really get in the way of having a happy and harmonious relationship with ourselves and others.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that we are broken. I had a teacher who really impacted me a lot, a somatic movement teacher. And he said, look at the DSM-5. Most people know what that is. It's like the manual that you look through to figure out what's wrong with people.
Right.
And he said,
which keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger with each volume. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And he said that every listing in that book is a tool that the mind uses to stay sane, to make sense of reality. The trouble that we get into is when the mind gets stuck on using one tool.
Right.
So if I only have a hammer, it makes it hard to cut my meat or brush my teeth.
Yes.
Or brush the cat.
Yeah.
Right? And so how do we widen our toolbox and loosen our grip on the tools that we have?
Right.
So
that falls more under the counsel. I think the word counsel, we are the counsel. We are the ones that may come, but therapy being psychotherapy. Is that sort of,
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not saying that there are diagnoses out there, and I'm not saying that you can imagine those away. What I am saying is our relationship to labels.
Yes.
Because there's such comfort in, I can finally understand and explain what's happening to me because it's in the book.
Yes.
Right? And we can share that experience and share the words. Right? However, as an RTC, and you know this, we don't diagnose. And actually, we're not allowed to treat either.
Right.
Treat.
Yeah.
So what does that leave us? Witnessing, honoring.
Yes.
Holding space.
Yeah. And
being together.
Yeah. In the mess.
In the mess.
Yeah. And celebrating the wins too, because there's so many that come. I think it's worth sort of mentioning that again, that that sort of that buyer beware thing, when you are looking for a therapeutic person to go, that, it's the medical professionals that are going to give you your diagnosis. The psychiatrists, I don't even know if a psychologist, I think they can.
They can, yeah.
But if you're talking to somebody and they have a counseling designation or a therapeutic something, don't go there expecting that they're going to have some sort of diagnosis for you. They may say, this sounds like anxiety, this sounds like depression, but we are not going to say you have. And not only that that's not ethical, but how horrible is that on some level for somebody to look at you, hear your story, and go, I got this. You just need to work on,
XYZ.
Yes,
right.
Which for sure, there's lots of tools, as you say, or skill sets that we come with that will help that process. But the idea of giving someone a label so they can commiserate with other people with the same label does not do any help.
No.
It's, I am depressed. I have ADHD. I am in a relationship with a narcissist. Okay, and now what?
There's something beautiful about community and saying, okay, I understand you, or, oh, okay.
Yes, being heard, understanding commonalities.
Right? Sure. And what do we do now? How does that drive us, support us towards where we actually want to be?
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that, because I'll get off my soapbox now. But yeah,
I'm right there with you.
But it's a thing that, I think we have to be so careful about the DSM and all the diagnoses and the buzzwords that get so much, they get their little spotlight, and then everybody's using them without really fully understanding, and then subsequently going out and diagnosing their partners or their children or their whatever. Like, there's some sort of reward in knowing that. It's good to know from a starting point, but I think there's just something so much more vast. Somatic-based work can feel mysterious for some. How do you introduce someone new to it, to the idea of listening to the body in a counseling session? So we talked about in the beginning what somatic means to you. So when someone is coming to you, what would that sort of first session, not like past the intake, past sort of that, let's get to know what's kind of going on, then what? What's the then what?
So I'm really big on consent, right? Yep. So you're telling me about what you want to bring to session, and we're getting into it a bit, and I get this hit that a more overt somatic exploration would be useful in this moment, I'd say, hey, can I pause you for a sec? I have this idea to try to work a little bit more with your body. Is that something that you're interested in? So you would say, no, or sure. Or I'd say, like, one of the things that I really like to do is kind of have a little plan, because there's a lot of information in here, right? Yes. And so I say, okay, if we do a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is pretty mellow, not feeling much at all, and 10 is like, well, I can't, this is way too much. Let's say if we make an agreement that we're not going over 4, and 4 could mean maybe a little goosebumpy, it could mean a tiny little bit sweaty. I would ask you what physical activation means to you, right? And then we'd have an agreement, is that we're going to explore a bit, and when we get to 4, you're going to let me know, and we're going to pause there. Right? So that, to me, comes back to the consent piece, and what I mean is trauma informed, right? Yes. Or I say, if the information inside your body is the lake, we're on the beach. We're not even on the beach, we're in the parking lot. Right? We're in the parking lot where we can't even quite see the beach.
Yeah, that just screams safety for me,
right?
Too. Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah. So that, and I think it's important to say, as therapists, when somebody comes into the room, it is not their job to manage us, right? So we're going to honor whatever that is. We may be like, let's go to 10. Like, you can handle this, but if you're like 0.5 is feeling good enough today.
Yeah.
That is like amazing.
That is amazing.
Yay you for like taking that 0.5. Maybe next session we'll get to 1 or 3. We don't know, but let's stay safe, and they're the masters of their experience.
And I really love, like, I just took 4 as an idea, right?
Yeah.
But for lots of people, it's going to be 0.5.
It's all new.
It's all new.
Yeah.
So if we're like, oh, can you feel your feet on the floor?
Yeah. Come back to your body.
Right? Can you feel the seat under your bum? Right?
Yeah.
That's where we start with.
Yes.
Right?
The beginning.
Yes.
I think it's just so important to sort of calm those nerves of because it's always what to expect. Can I trust this person?
Totally.
Is the rapport and relationship already established? And can I be safe here? So it's if something's happening, what I'm hearing you say is, if something's happening and you maybe sense it, you're checking in. Yeah,
absolutely.
And that they can say, just like when you go to a massage therapist, it's too much pressure. This is just a little too much today.
Yeah.
You're all good to back away, to back it up. Let's get back in the car.
That's enough speech for today. Or this moment.
Yeah.
Right.
Take a moment, take a pause, come back to your body and reassess.
Right.
Which I think we just don't, in this busy, crazy, chaotic, fear-based society, we are so out of tune with that.
Right.
That it sounds simple, but I can promise, if somebody comes in and they're feeling all those things with you, they will have that emotional experience. And there's just so much beauty in that. Yeah, that's the gold. What are some of the shifts you speak of when someone begins to slow down and let their body speak? So you can think of even, with honoring confidentiality, we won't give away anything, but what are you hearing? What is the feedback?
Well, I think one of the things that gives me the biggest glimmer is when people leave a session feeling excited about the information that's in there, right? So many of us are taught that the body is a problem, either we're too fat, or we're not fast enough, or whatever the list of too much or not enough, right? And so we have this fear and this, I'm going to say, distaste for the body. And so when somebody walks out of a session and says, oh wow, I noticed something in there, and actually there's something neat going on in there, and I learned something about myself and my body, and I actually learned something that is going to help me and give me information for this and this situation in my life. And to me, that just totally lights me up.
Absolutely. It's this, I never thought of that before, right? Those aha, or I actually had an answer to that I'm super proud of. I did some hard work today. Those are just so good, right? Yeah. And again, not for us. I mean, I can feel from you. There's a pride moment that we were able to witness that and maybe help bring that to them. But the gift is theirs to keep. Yeah.
It's theirs to take and theirs to keep. Right?
And there's no reciprocity. It doesn't have to, now they don't have to owe you something and feel like they have to come back better, stronger the next time. That may be a fleeting moment in between sessions. And then we can do it again.
Right.
And like an elastic, you never fully go back, right? That awareness has been sparked. Yeah. Oh, we could talk forever. Look at us already. Okay, so this, when you get two therapists together that are like in the same sort of jam, hours can pass. So we'll be tidy and we'll keep on track. But I do love the focus and future part of the interview process. So to wrap it back to the happiness on purpose, when you think about being on purpose, What does that look for you now, personally, in your work? Thinking forward, what will keep you on purpose? Where do you see yourself moving forward on purpose?
That's a great question. So, internally, we were talking earlier that I am growing a lot right now,
Yeah,
right? I was saying that being a student is different than being a somatic movement therapist, and being growing a counseling and facilitation business is different than being at school,
absolutely.
right? And so I am really growing a lot. I'm learning how to do reels, and it
Yeah.
took me 24 hours to set up a thing in my booking system.
Yes.
And so I'm learning all about perseverance and creativity and keeping my feet on the floor and not chucking my computer out the window,
Yes,
right?
and managing expectations and our limitations,
All
and
the things,
yeah,
right?
because that's your everything. You're the accountant, the bookkeeper, the receptionist, the treatment, the cleanup, the this, the that. When you're in business for yourself, it's all the all.
It's all the all, right?
Yeah.
And so learning how to care for myself, and learning how to ask for help, and learning how to say,
Mm.
okay, dude, just sit down and get your GST done and
Yeah.
stop whining about it, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so that's my personal growth,
Right.
right? And there's my growth as a mom and what I want to create in my personal life. There's that.
Yeah.
And then there's the business end. And I am working on this very exciting, I'm really excited about it. I'm putting together next week
Okay.
a event for sport parents, so parents of kids in sports. So whether they
Perfect.
are just starting out with bunnies, or that's for cross country
Yeah, I'm
skiing,
like, I don't know what that
or
is.
junior
Yeah.
entry level, or if you have elite athletes, child athletes, this is a opportunity for sport parents to get together. And I'm calling it Coming Home to Ourselves, to talk a
Love
little
it.
bit about what sport is doing for us and how we are supporting sport in ourselves and our children.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming up. And in the future, I have something really exciting that is more a combination of counseling and coaching and the movement. And that's a
Okay.
little bit of a longer term
That's
on the
exciting.
horizon that
That's
I'm
exciting.
super, super excited about.
Yeah. So the one that's coming up, just
Hmm.
because we can do a little pitch
Yeah,
for you, and when this goes up on the social medias, feel free to put anything you want in the comments,
thank
because
you.
people will want to know more. So is this more focused towards the parents keeping themselves, mind, body, inside attuned, and not getting wrapped up in the expectations of the child and what that looks like? Like, what does this?
Yes, all
Yeah.
of that stuff. In
All.
in how are we in relationship with ourselves, so that we can support our children in their relationship with sport,
Perfect.
right?
Yeah, because there are a lot more than I had even known of in the Okanagan. There's a lot of people doing high
Yes.
level things, and have children that have maybe been identified as very able in whatever it is that they're doing, or exceptional in whatever they're doing. And then it's a big thing for the parent or the guardian, the caregiver, to manage projecting on the child
Yeah.
their unfulfilled dreams and hopes for
Right.
themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be really beautiful without knowing much more about it. But I'm excited to learn more.
I love it. I
And
will
your
post all
bigger,
the details.
yeah, and your bigger version.
Yeah.
All right. So for our listeners, we're going to wrap up. For our listeners, if someone wants to connect with you, learn more, or take the first step, how should they do that?
Well, you can Google me. You can Google me at Motionally, Motion. So motion and ally, ALLY
Oh, okay.
.ca.
Good.
So I'm on the internets, and I'm on Instagram, and you can find me on Facebook.
Okay. All under the
And
same name?
yeah,
Yep.
all Motionally. And reach out. I have a little thing where you can book a time to get chat, and we can
Do
have
like a
15
discovery
minutes together,
session?
a discovery call, and see how I can support you and what you need. And or if you want to follow me online on the socials, I'd love to see you there, and we can
Yeah.
like and drop an
Share and like
emoji
each
and all
other's.
that stuff. And I always have fun there. So I if you follow my stories, you'll see that I have a kind of a sense of humor, and that
Yeah.
I like art and music and humor, and so you're going to see that side of me too.
Yeah.
There.
I think that's a perfect segue to talk about the art
Yes.
behind us, because we are actually doing this interview in an actual real art studio.
Yes.
Do you want to, our art gallery,
Yes.
pardon me. Do you want to give a little shout out?
Yes, a big thank you to the Heidi Thompson Art Gallery. We are in Coldstream on Coldstream Creek Road. And the art gallery is part of the First Friday art series.
Mm-hmm.
If you Google Heidi Thompson Art Gallery or look on Facebook for First Friday Art, you will find Heidi there. This is a beautiful facility. It's open by an appointment only. She also hosts workshops, meditation, yoga classes, and Heidi is also an accomplished filmmaker. So this is a place that you really want to know about, and definitely check it out. We have a few days for the First Friday to come, so
yeah,
please seek this place out.
Yeah, I did an awesome. Actually, it was the very first ever Happy on Purpose interview was with Christine. Her last name's
Kashuba.
Thank you.
I got you.
I was like, I know, I can see it in my head. Yeah, and she was amazing. So I love that the First Friday is Art Trail is sort of circling back. Yeah. Well, we need to wrap it up because here we are. Thank you for bringing such depth, kindness, and truth to our conversation today, Isabel.
Thank you, Janice. It's been an honor.
If you'd like to reach Isabel, as she said, check out Motionally Counselling and Facilitation online. We will put that in the comments. And to every listener, take a moment this week to notice your body, your breath, the quiet edge, which is the place where you might just come home to yourself. Until next time, keep choosing joy on purpose.